So for those of us with dry eye, you might have noticed a lot more products popping up designed around doing steam or moist heat, dry eye treatments. Sometimes they'll use the word mist, but how well do they actually work? I actually got my hands on a few of them to test out, and one of them, I actually will probably be using it in my personal dry eye routine, and some of them I'm actually kind of worried about. So let's focus in. Now, when we're talking about steam or mist, warm heat therapy, this all falls under the dry eye treatment umbrella of warm compresses, where the goal to help with your dry eye is through the oil glands, helping the oil glands in your eyes function better. And if you want to know what actually makes a good warm compress, what makes an effective warm compress, I'll link this video and in the description so you can actually check that out. Now, when we're talking about warm compresses, there's a conversation about moist warm compresses because there is some evidence that shows that the moist heat can be more beneficial. And this is mainly for two reasons. One, the moist heat can actually be a little bit more effective. It can create a broader treatment area and actually can be more effective deeper into the tissue. And number two, and actually one of the bigger ones, when people found that they did moist or steam warm compresses, people were more compliant, meaning they actually did the warm compresses more routinely and had better results with their dry eyes. And that's kind of like the big one, is if you're not going to do the warm compresses, of course it's not going to work. And so this is a big one, where with steam and moist heat, they found that people actually enjoy the warm compress a little bit better, so they're more prone to actually do the warm compress. So I tried to get devices that kind of represent a lot of the products that are out there, and also some of the ones that people have asked me about, and I kind of wanted to test them out anyway. This one is actually from Renpho. Well known, they actually make a lot of different eye massager masks. A couple that I've actually reviewed, I'll put the links if you want to check those out as well. But they actually make this eye spa mist mask. Say that one 3 times fast. And to get into it, the main things that I'm looking for in these is, does it actually provide heat and enough heat to be effective? 2, does it provide that heat long enough to be effective? 3, is it comfortable, kind of easy to use? And number 4, this is kind of a big one, is it easy to clean? You actually do put water in these, and if it's hard to clean, it can actually create a perfect reservoir for bacteria to grow, and then you're blowing bacterial water right onto your eyes and could possibly lead to an infection. In fact, if you actually look at some of the reviews on some of these, some people actually comment saying, I got an infection from this. And so that's kind of a big one. So here we go. So did this one actually get hot enough? I actually think it did to be effective. Now I wish that it actually got a little bit hotter, but the actual moist heat, the mist that came out, did actually feel pretty good, and I think it can be somewhat effective. Again, I wish it was a little bit warmer though. Number 2, was it long enough? I wish that it was a little bit longer. It automatically shuts off when it's done. It was usually around the 10-minute mark, sometimes less than that for some reason, but you can restart it again and just do another session so you can get more time out of it. It does recommend not doing it for longer than 20 minutes though, so it can be long enough. Number 3, was it comfortable? I actually think it was comfortable to wear. Couple things that are annoying about it, they provide these little sponges on the bottom to collect moisture. They kept falling out and moving and felt weird in the eye. I actually preferred to do it without it. And the silicone pad can sometimes be annoying because it comes off really easily, but it does create a nice moisture chamber on the eye, so I actually thought it was comfortable. Now, can you clean it? Now, this one is the one I'm a little bit nervous about it. They actually do provide a self-cleaning setting on there. How effective it is, I don't really know. And it can be tricky to actually get in there. They do provide you with a cleaning brush though, so you can actually clean the misters in there and actually probably get in the tank. So you can get in there. It still makes me worried, and there are reviews of some people getting eye infections doing this. And that's where I actually get a little bit worried about these. At first feels really comfortable, but for long-term use, am I going to get an infection? Is it going to be hard to clean out the tank? And it can be a little bit tricky. But it has a self-cleaner, so this is something to look into. Ranges about $50 unless you get it on sale. But just be careful with this one and some of the other ones. Just cleaning it, that's the big one. The next one up, you're actually going to see this type of device everywhere. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them on cheaper websites like AliExpress. Sometimes they're like $5. They can be really cheap. And they're kind of marketed as a heated Nano Eye Mist Sprayer, where you can actually spray some mist into your eyes. And this one that I actually got off of Amazon, it was 20 bucks. It says that it's a warm compress, moist heat for relief, fatigue, dry eyes. And It does not do that. So you turn it on and actually spray out some mist. Now it has 3 different temperature settings. I really didn't notice a difference in the heat of it and the lack of heat. In fact, all the mist felt cold to me, even if I had it on for a long time. And so, I don't know, maybe I got a faulty unit. But it definitely, as far as number 1, getting warm enough, didn't do that. Can I do it long enough? Well, yeah, you could put it on long enough, but it definitely wasn't warm enough to actually be doing a warm compress. Was it comfortable? No, I have to hold it and actually kind of tickles my eye, blowing in the mist. Yeah, I just didn't like it. In fact, my eye kind of felt a little bit more irritated afterwards. Number 4, can you clean it? This is probably one of the scariest ones for me, that it's really hard to get down there and actually clean it. It does have kind of a cleansing light setting. Again, makes me a little bit worried about how effective that might be. And so this is one where I'm just really worried about collecting bacteria and actually causing an eye infection. I mean, I'm sure you can clean it, get some fluid in there, really warm water, heat, but it just doesn't seem worth the hassle. So this next one I actually had a little bit of hope for. These were called steam atomizing glasses. Sounded really nice if I could wear glasses, do something, and actually have some kind of steam, heat, warm compress at the same time. Number 1, do they get warm enough? No. They say in the description that it actually can do heated eye care, but I can't figure out how it's supposed to get warm. I've tried the different settings, interval settings. There's no button or anything to kind of change the heat, and so I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. I just don't know where the heat is supposed to be coming from. It doesn't say anything in the instructions about it or anything, so I'm kind of let down on that. So as far as a warm compress or heat, moist heat or anything like that, it's not doing that. Now, it kind of feels good. I imagine wearing these if I was standing in a line at Disneyland and it's 100 degrees outside, and wearing these, it actually kind of feels good. It feels like one of those kind of mist things there. So in that way, it would feel good. But as far as doing a dry eye treatment and being effective, I don't know. Maybe mine is defective or something. I don't know, but I can't figure it out. Number 3, is it comfortable? I mean, it's a huge pair of glasses. So not too comfortable, but it's not crazy. I mean, but again, I'm just kind of let down. I wish it was going to be helpful. And I think if it was heat, I'm just worried that a lot of it would escape out. I feel like there'd need to be something right here to kind of create a chamber here. But I was excited to be able to kind of look through glasses on this one here. But yeah, don't think it's going to be that effective. And then number 4, about cleaning it, same thing, same worry. It does have a little chamber here that holds the water, and again, can be tricky to clean in there. It's almost near impossible to actually get into the crevices there. You'll have to run really warm water, but I just worry about it. And it does have a cleaning light feature on there. Again, I don't know how effective that is, but that's what I worry about, is the cleaning aspect and bacteria getting in there, and then you're blowing it on your eyes. This one usually goes around for $30 unless you find it on sale. Now, one thing with all of these, I did use distilled water, so definitely if you're going to get any of these, use distilled or purified water. And I will put links in the description, so if you want to check them out, read the descriptions, read the reviews, see what they're all about, I'll put that in the description. So this is probably one of the most serious warm compress dry eye devices that I own right now, and this one's steam goggles. Now this one is a little bit more serious of a steam dry eye treatment. Now what's nice about these is because they're goggles, I can actually see through it. It creates a moisture chamber for me, just kind of like the Renpho mask did, but on the individual eyes here. And it has these bottom little tanks that are filled up with water, and that's where it provides heat. Now the nice thing about this one, it does have a power bank that goes with it. You actually plug it in with USB, so it actually provides power to heat these up, and you can actually tell a difference. Now, as far as number 1, does this one get warm enough? Yeah, definitely gets warm enough to be effective. In fact, you can actually control the temperature a little bit by how much you actually fill the little individual tanks here, how much water you put in there. If you want it to be kind of really warm, really effective, you can actually point your head down, and then you can actually feel the steam rise up right onto the eyelids. And what's nice about this one like the other ones is that you can actually still blink the eyes, get the oil glands moving, and at the same time you can actually use your phone or your computer or watch TV. So there's a little area that I can actually see through here. So kind of nice and feels effective. Now this one, it's on a timer for 10 minutes. It's an automatic 10 minutes when you turn it on. It takes about a minute and a half to preheat, and then you can put it on. So you get about 8.5 minutes of treatment, and then you can restart it. You could fill it up with more water if you need to, and then actually turn it on again and get going. So that's the one downside, is that, you know, you kind of get a little bit less time with this one, but can redo it. And man, I am feeling it. This is definitely the warmest out of all of them for sure. Feels like it's actually working pretty well, really effective, can actually help a little bit. And that's the one thing about this one. You definitely have to stay sitting up, or you can actually look down to do the heat. If you by chance lean back or lay down, some of that heated water can actually spill onto the bottom of your eyelid, and it can smart a little bit. And so there is a little bit more of a risk with this one. You just have to be extra careful and not move, stay sitting up, because that water in there is definitely hot. So yeah, be careful with this one. Just a warning. Now, is this one comfortable? I mean, they are goggles. I mean, as comfortable as goggles can be, but it actually is not that bad, especially if you're just going to do it the 10 minutes, you know, maybe a little bit longer. I didn't feel like it was that bad. So number 4, as far as cleaning this one, this is definitely the easiest out of all of them by far. It's actually safe to run it under the water or soak it in the sink. It's water safe as long as you unplug it. You don't put the power bank in there or anything like that. Easy to get to the individual canisters where the water sits, so you can actually clean them out. So as far as any worry with bacteria, this one's a lot less and a lot safer in that regards. So out of all of them, I'll probably actually start using this one in my routine dry eye treatment. I feel like it was the most effective. You could clean it the easiest. The only thing that I'm scared of is if you actually put a little bit too much water in there, heats up, and you actually tip back, then yeah, it can actually get right on the eyelid skin and maybe smart a little bit. And so there's a little bit of a risk involved with this one. And so if you do want to look into this one, just make sure that you don't lean back. You're really careful, and you kind of watch out for that. Make sure you don't overfill it or anything. The instructions are really nice and really clear on this one, and so follow the instructions on this one and don't lean back. Now, that being said, this is definitely the more pricier one, getting closer to $200 on Amazon. Now, you do get a USB-C power bank with that, which is nice, but probably the closest comparable device to this one is called Blephesteem. And I actually haven't tried Blephesteem, but I've been wanting to, but the price on that one gets over $400, $420, it kind of ranges sometimes. But yeah, so this is, I mean, more than half the price of that one, and I think this is probably the closest comparable one to that one, with the Blephesteem actually being great. A lot of people having great reviews. There have actually been some studies and research that has been done with that showing the effectiveness with dry eyes. So I think this is the closest one comparable, or comparing to that one. So just curious, have you ever tried any moist warm compresses or steam warm compresses? I'm curious to hear how they worked for you. Again, I'll put the links to all of these in the description. If you have any questions, if you want me to do a full review on any of these, I can. Just kind of request it in the comments. But yeah, hopefully you find something that works. Hopefully this helped. Stay focused.